Self isn't something that we're just like concerned with, you know? We are self, you know? I mean, before us, self was without form and void, you know, like our parents and their dumpy clothes, their vague ideas, you know? And then we came along. You know? Now the personal is the political, the personal is the socioeconomic, the personal is the religious, the secular, the science, the arts, you know? Personal is everything that creepeth upon the earth after his, and let us hasten to add her, kind. Baby boom has done one thing, it is to beget a personal universe. And our apologies to anybody who personally happens to be a jerk. Because self, it's kind of like a fish, proverbially speaking. You know, you give a man a fish and you fed him for a day, and teach a man to fish, and if he turns into a dry fly, catch and release, angling fanatic up to his liver in icy water, pestering trout with a 3-pound test line on a $1,000 graphite rod, well, at least his life partner is glad to have him out of the house. So here we are in the baby boom cosmos, formed in our image, personally tailored to our individual needs, and predetermined to be eternally fresh and novel. And we saw that it was good, or pretty good. I mean, we should have had a cooler name, like the Lost Generation did, you know? So good luck to anybody who tries to tell us to get lost, you know? But it's too late. It's too late now. We're stuck with being described as exploding infants. And maybe it's time, now that we have splattered ourselves all over the place, for the baby boom to look back and think, what made us who we are? What caused us to act the way we do? And what the fuck? You know, because the truth is, if we hadn't decided to be young forever, we'd be old. You know? We would be old. Youngest baby boomers, born in the last year when anybody thought it was hip to like Lyndon Johnson, are turning 50 this year, turning 50. We would be sad about getting old if we weren't too busy remarrying younger wives and reviving careers that hit glass ceilings when children came along, and renewing prescriptions for drugs that keep us from being sad. And we'll never retire. We can't. We can't. The mortgage is underwater. We're up to debt. You're in debt up to the Rogaine, you know, for the kids' college education. And this serves us right. Totally serves us right. We're the generation who insisted that a passion for living should replace working for one. You know. Still, it's an appropriate moment for us to weigh what we have wrought and tally what we have added and what we have subtracted from existence. We have reached the age of accountability. The world is our fault. Now we're the generation that has an excuse for everything. You know, I mean, I think it's one of our greatest contributions to modern life, actually. But the world's still our fault. You know, it's just a matter of power and privilege demography, really. I mean, whenever anything happens anywhere, somebody over 50 signs the bill for it. You know, that's all there is to it. And the baby boom, seated as we are at the head of life's table, is hearing Generation X and Generation Y and the millennials all saying, check please. But you see, I had a little problem as I was writing this book. And the problem was talking about the whole baby boom all at once. I mean, you know, to address America's baby boom is to face big, broad problems. I mean, as I said, we number more than 75 million, and we're not only diverse, but we take a thorny pride in our every deviation from the norm, even though we're in therapy for it. We are all alike in that we each think we're unusual. You know? Now, fortunately, we are all alike in one thing, in our approach to big, broad problems. We won't face them. There's a website for that, a support group to join, a class to take, alternative medicine, regular exercise, a book that explains it all, a celebrity on TV who's been through the same thing, or we can eliminate gluten from our diet. History is full of generations that had too many problems. We are the first generation to have too many answers. which is not a problem. I mean, consider the people who have faced up squarely to the deepest and most perplexing conundrums of existence. I mean, Leo Tolstoy, just for example, he tackled every one of them, you know. Why are we here? What kind of life should we lead? The nature of evil, the character of love, the essence of identity, salvation, suffering, death. And what did it get him? Dead, for one thing, you know, and off his rocker for about the last 30 years of his life, you know. And plus, Tolstoy was saddled with this 1,000-page novel about war and peace and everything else you can think of, you know, which he couldn't even look up on Wikipedia because he hadn't written it yet. Yeah, what a life, you know. I mean, see, if Leo Tolstoy had been one of us, he could have entered a triathlon, you know, a baby boom innovation from the middle 1970s. See, by middle 1970s, we knew we couldn't run away from our problems, but if we added cycling and swimming, So to the problems of talking about the baby boom, let us turn our big, broad, yet soon to be firmed up thanks to the triathlon for seniors that we're planning to enter, generational backsides. However, the difficulty still remains. I mean, most groups of people who get tagged as a generation, you know, by history, that's just kind of an easy, offhand way of describing group of people. I mean, they're folks sort of the same age, experiencing sort of the same thing, sort of the same place. It's kind of like the cast of Cheers or Seinfeld or Friends or something like that. You know, I'm pretty sure, as a result of taking modern literature in college, that Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald and James Joyce and Gertrude Stein, Henry Miller and Ezra Pound were roommates in a big apartment on the left bank of Paris in the 1920s, right? If not, I give that idea for a sitcom free to the members of the audience. But unlike most generations, the baby boom has an exact definition. We are the children who were born during a period after World War II when the long-term trend in fertility among American women was exceeded. And that excess began promptly in 1946, and it gradually tapered off until 1964 when American women were taking a pill or rolling over and pretending to be asleep or telling their husbands, go phone the Pope about where to buy rubbers. You know? And, you know, after that comes Generation X, as you well know. So 46, 64, it's a long time. And distinctions among different kinds of baby boomers need to be made. Now geographical distinctions would be too peripatetic for that. That would be moot for us. Distinctions according to race, class, gender, sexual orientation, that would be offensive to baby boom sensitivities. Furthermore, they'd be beside the point for me in my book, because much as I want to be as different from everyone else as a member of the baby boom should be, I just happen to be hopelessly ordinary in matters of race, class, gender identification, and which section of Playboy I turned to first when I was 16. You know, but time is a distinction we all have to endure, and the baby boom can be sorted by age. It's not totally unitary. The baby boom senior class, I think of them as basically high school class, seniors, juniors, sophomore, freshmen. The senior class were born in the late 40s. Now, I'm obviously of that ilk. Now we seniors, we were on the bow wave of the baby boom's voyage of exploration. But while we were at the bow wave, we were also sort of closely tethered to the wake of preceding generations. So in effect, the senior class of the baby boom, we were kind of keel-hauled by the whole baby boom experience. We were left a little soggy and shaken, you know. And if we wound up as financial advisors trying to wear tongue studs, you know, or as Trotskyites trying to organize Tea Party protests, or both, you know, we have to be forgiven. Hillary Clinton and Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong, those are seniors of the baby boom. Juniors were born in the early 50s, and they're often the younger siblings of the senior class, and they came of age when parents were just throwing in the towel, you know during the what's the matter with kids these days match. You know, the juniors pursued the notions and the whims and the fancies of the baby boom with even greater intensity